Captain Zara Singh watched the diplomatic convoy approach through the quantum-encrypted view screen of the UES Prometheus, her fingers drumming against the armrest of the command chair that had become both throne and prison. 17 different species had sent representatives to this remote sector of space, united for the first time in galactic history by a single, overwhelming fear, humanity's latest creation. "Captain," announced Lieutenant Torres from the communications station, "we're receiving transmission protocols from the Galactic Concordat. They're requesting permission to board under the Universal Diplomatic Immunity Accords." Singh almost laughed. The same species that had spent centuries dismissing humans as upstart primitives were now invoking ancient laws to ensure their safety in her presence. The irony wasn't lost on her that the most powerful weapon in the galaxy was currently being used as a meeting room. "Grant them passage," she ordered, "but remind them that the Prometheus operates under Earth jurisdiction. Any attempt at sabotage or espionage will be considered an act of war." The Prometheus hung motionless in space, its sleek 20-kilometer hull bristling with weapon systems that defied conventional physics. Unlike traditional warships that relied on kinetic projectiles or energy beams, the Prometheus was built around a single, reality-altering principle: quantum probability manipulation. Dr. Elena Chen, the ship's chief science officer, approached Singh's command station with the latest technical reports. Her expression carried the perpetual mix of pride and terror that had defined the Prometheus project since its inception. "The quantum flux is stable at 99.7% efficiency," Chen reported quietly. "All primary systems are operating within acceptable parameters. The probability engines are ready for combat deployment on your command." Singh nodded, though the weight of that capability pressed down on her like a physical force. The Prometheus didn't simply destroy enemy ships, it convinced the universe that those ships had never existed in the first place. Quantum probability manipulation allowed the vessel to reach into the fundamental uncertainty that governed reality at the subatomic level and nudge outcomes in humanity's favor. Enemy missiles would spontaneously suffer catastrophic guidance failures. Shield generators would experience impossible cascade failures at precisely the wrong moment. Entire fleets would find their ammunition spontaneously detonating in their magazines due to statistically improbable quantum fluctuations. The first test had been against a rogue asteroid threatening the colony on Proxima Centauri b. The Prometheus had focused its probability manipulators on the massive rock and simply deleted its trajectory. From the perspective of physics, the asteroid had always been on a course that would miss the planet. Reality rewrote itself to accommodate this new truth, and 2 billion colonists were saved without a shot being fired. The demonstration had terrified every major power in the galaxy. "Ma'am," Torres interrupted, "the diplomatic shuttle is requesting landing clearance in Bay 7. The passenger manifest includes Ambassador Vrextal of the Hegemony, Chancellor Mordun of the Kaithara Collective, and—" She paused, "High Arbiter Zenthis of the Eternal Tribunal." Singh felt her pulse quicken. The Eternal Tribunal represented the oldest continuous civilization in the galaxy, predating most species by millions of years. If they had emerged from their self-imposed isolation to attend this meeting, the situation was more serious than she had imagined. 20 minutes later, Singh found herself facing the most diverse assembly of alien dignitaries in recorded history. The conference room aboard the Prometheus had been configured to accommodate 17 different atmospheric requirements, creating a surreal environment where some delegates breathed methane, while others required high radiation environments. Ambassador Vrextal, a towering crystalline being from the silicon-based hegemony, spoke first. His voice resonated through the ship's hull like breaking glass. "Captain Singh, the Galactic Concordat, has convened this emergency session to address humanity's violation of the Universal Weapons Limitation Accords. With respect, Ambassador, Singh replied calmly. Humanity was never a signatory to those accords. We weren't considered significant enough to invite to the negotiations. Chancellor Mordun, whose species communicated through controlled bioluminescent displays, pulsed indignantly. The Prometheus represents a clear violation of the causal stability protocols established after the last reality war. Your vessel's capabilities threaten the fundamental structure of spacetime. Singh had studied the historical records. The reality war had occurred roughly 800,000 years ago, when two ancient civilizations had developed weapons capable of altering the past. The conflict had lasted approximately 3 minutes from an outside perspective, but had rewritten nearly 1,000,000 years of galactic history. Entire species had been retroactively prevented from evolving, while others had been created wholesale through temporal manipulation. The galaxy had banned such weapons for obvious reasons. The Prometheus doesn't alter the past, Singh pointed out. It simply influences probability distributions within normal quantum parameters. We're not changing what happened, we're changing what's likely to happen. High Arbiter Zenthis finally spoke, her ancient voice carrying the weight of eons. Child of Earth, you speak of normal quantum parameters, but your vessel operates beyond such limitations. We have observed the Prometheus making events with probability coefficients of 1047 occur with perfect reliability. You are essentially performing miracles on demand. Dr. Chen stepped forward with her tablet displaying complex mathematical models. High Arbiter, our probability manipulation operates within theoretical limits established by the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. We simply amplify natural quantum fluctuation. To impossible extremes, interrupted Vrextile. Your last combat exercise showed the Prometheus defeating a simulated fleet of 50,000 vessels without firing a single conventional weapon. Every enemy ship suffered simultaneous and supposedly independent system failures with mathematical precision. Singh remained silent, knowing that any defense would only confirm their fears. The truth was that even she didn't fully understand the Prometheus's capabilities. The ship's quantum computers processed probability calculations across 17 dimensions simultaneously, identifying causal chains that could be influenced to produce desired outcomes. In practice, it meant the Prometheus was essentially invincible. Not because it couldn't be destroyed, but because the universe would conspire to prevent its destruction through increasingly improbable coincidences. The Concordat has prepared a proposal, announced Chancellor Mordun, his bioluminescent patterns shifting to formal diplomatic configurations. Humanity will decommission the Prometheus and submit all related research to the Galactic Archive. In exchange, Earth will be granted full membership in the Concordat with all associated benefits. It was an impressive offer. Full Concordat membership would provide humanity with access to technologies and trade networks that could advance their civilization by millennia. But it would also mean surrendering their only guarantee of independence in a galaxy where might determined right. Singh considered the assembled delegates, each representing civilizations that had existed longer than humanity's entire evolutionary history. They were offering her species a place at the galactic table, but only if humanity agreed to remain forever dependent on their goodwill. I'll need to consult with Earth Command, Singh said finally. This decision affects our entire species. High Arbiter Zenthis leaned forward, her ancient eyes reflecting starlight. Understand, Captain, that this offer represents unprecedented generosity. The alternative is that 17 species will unite to contain the Prometheus through whatever means necessary. We have learned from history that weapons like yours inevitably corrupt those who wield them. After the diplomats departed, Singh stood alone on the observation deck, watching their shuttles disappear into hyperspace. The Prometheus hung in the void around her, its quantum probability engines humming with barely contained power. She held in her hands the ability to reshape reality itself, to guarantee humanity's dominance over any conceivable threat. But with such power came in terrible isolation. The galaxy feared them now, and fear eventually transformed into hatred. Even if humanity chose to keep the Prometheus, they would forever be outcasts among the stars' gods, among mortals, but gods without worshippers. The choice would define humanity's future: integration through submission, or dominance through eternal solitude. Singh activated her communication system to contact Earth Command, knowing that whatever decision they made would echo across the centuries.